Hey you, how's it going? You are listening to the 27th episode of Fresh from the Scene. Today's show features a band that I feel everybody should experience in a live setting, and funnily enough, they have a tour coming up in June, so if you're up for it and can travel to St Albans, Stoke, Preston or Leeds, why not grab a ticket? There's links in the description to everything you need going forward, and if you enjoy the episode, please do give it a share, and if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please take 5 minutes to give us a review. You have no idea how much it helps us out. Podcast intros are weird, and if you're sick of it all and think we should blitz it, get ready, because here we go with episode 27 of Fresh from the Scene.
You're listening to Fresh from the Scene with your host, Ruby Price.
Welcome to Fresh from the Scene. Today's guest is the one and only Mr. Bobby Bentham from the absolutely amazing to see live Strange Bones.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. We've already done this, but this is just podcast, etiquette.
Yeah.
How are you?
Twice. Yeah, I'm very well. I can't complain. Hope you're keeping well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lockdown's almost over, I think.
Hopefully, absolutely, hopefully. I mean, the fact is, gigs are potentially and should be happening, soon, which is half of the reason as to why, now is a good time to be speaking to you, which we'll get to. But for anyone who's listening at home that doesn't know who Strange Bones are, in your own words, who are Strange Bones?
That's an interesting question. We're a travelling circus from Blackpool, England.
A travelling circus.
Weird music, which isn't weird at the same time. It's a paradox. I always find that hard to answer that question.
Yeah.
Because I blend in so many different genres, I can't really put a pin in it.
Yeah. I always like to open the podcast with that because it's almost a case of how self-aware are, artists and stuff. And I've got some very interesting answers, and a travelling circus from Blackpool is definitely going near the top of that list.
That's the only way I can describe it, because if you ask me what genre it is, like, I can only really say like alternative, because there's bits of drum and bass, bits of punk, bits of breakbeat, bits of rock. Like, it'd just be like a combination of all these genres put together. Maybe I need to think of a word that summarizes them all. But for now, travelling circus will do.
Travelling circus. Yeah, one of the press releases that I saw in the run-up to this was punk electronica. So maybe like punktronica.
That's all right. Punktronica. Like jungle punk or something like that.
Ooh, jungle punk's a good one.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, punk electronica kind of sums it up, I guess.
So yeah, as I alluded to, you are playing some live shows. You've got a tour happening 23rd to 27th of June. How excited are you to, get back into live music, and how excited are you to see, the ruckus of a Strange Bones crowd?
No, I cannot wait, honestly. It feels like a part of me has died inside, and it's about to come back to life when we step on that stage. But it's been so long, and it's weird with this lockdown. It feels like time passes quickly without you even realizing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure yesterday was August.
Yeah, this is what I mean. It's just gone by so quickly. We have got a lot of stuff done, though, to be fair. So it's been pretty good in terms of productivity. But yeah, I cannot wait to go out and play live again. It's kind of the backbone of this band, really, live shows. But yeah, I mean, if we were doing the tours that we were meant to do before lockdown, it would have been 10 times harder to get the album done and everything like that. Just because it's like blood, sweat and tears gone into that. And if I was trying to do that whilst on the road, it would have been a bit of a nightmare. So, but anyway, I cannot wait to go out. These shows are just going to be mental.
Yeah, I mean, you've got St Albans, Stoke, Preston and Leeds. I'm going to be in the crowd for the Leeds one, and just there's something about seeing Strange Bones in Leeds that's just a little bit, hectic. I saw you at Deaf Institute in Manchester, and that's a great venue, but it didn't compare to the times that I've seen you at Porto. Where was the other one? There was another one in Leeds. I saw you supplying
Yeah,
Frank Carr at
book
Stylus, and
club.
that was off the
Oh
chain.
yeah, so yeah, we did book club as well. Tide Park Book Club. That Porto gig was wild though.
Yeah,
There was like that mirror ball just like swinging back and forth. No, I loved that gig. It was sweaty. It's like a sauna in there.
yeah. One of the things that me and my friend Chloe do whenever we're going is we just sort of look at all the people that are around and we're like, okay, is this one going to be a quiet one or a loud one? And if she says a quiet one, it's going to go absolutely mental. And if she's expecting a mental one, I mean, it's still going to be mental anyway, because, there's just something about Strange Bones fans that I've noticed that brings quite the atmosphere to a gig.
Yeah, yeah, it's animals. Nice animals though.
Nice animals, absolutely. Obviously, you've got the first full-length live album on its way, England Screams,
Yeah,
coming 20th of August.
finally.
Yeah, you alluded to a Blood, Sweat and Tears. I think you're credited as the producer, writer, and mixing and engineered.
Yeah. I did everything, which yeah, it was blood, sweat, and tears, but it worked out amazing. I've been kind of working on my production and mixing skills for like the past 8 years or something, and I'm at a point now where I think I'm at a kind of competitive level with all the other mixers, which is good because it means I can just do everything myself. And it saves a lot of money as well. It's expensive making a record.
Yeah.
But we just put all our kind of advance money into just studio gear. So we can just record everything, like for Cab Louise as well.
Yeah.
Record everything, mix everything, and kind of, although it can be a bit like mentally draining sometimes, because if you're working on your own music, you can you kind of need to step back a lot of the time, because otherwise you just get sucked into this. It's like that with anything in life, though, isn't it? If it's your own art or your own project, you can get kind of, your mind can get a bit diluted with stuff, and you won't see things the way they are. But if you, I feel like I learned how to step back a bit and see things for what they actually are.
Yeah, being able to step back and take a critical view of things, like, oh, is this working, or am I just including it because I wrote it and I recorded it and I really want it to be in?
Yeah, that's it. Because a lot of times you can trick your mind into thinking something you've done is terrible as well. Do you know what I mean? But it is actually pretty fucking good. And if you've got people around you to just be like, slap you in the face and say, snap out of it, you're being stupid. But yeah, that's a learning thing, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
One step at a time.
One step at a time. So tell me about, recording the new record, England Scream. Well, I say new, the, first ever full-length record for Strange Bones. Tell me about that.
Oh yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like, it was late nights, like very late nights. But that's a good thing about kind of having the ability to do it yourself, is you can experiment. You've got time to do that. It's one thing that always stressed me out about going into like commercial studios, because I feel like I never performed properly because I knew I was on the clock, and just in my mind I could hear that clock ticking away.
Yeah.
With all the money going for every hour, it's okay, it's another 35 quid, and then you're like, shit, I've got to get this right, and then that makes you not get it right. But yeah, the recording's really fun. Just kind of just like whatever, like, let's do this, let's do that, and then let's try this, let's do that again. You can span it out a bit as well. Like, you don't have to get everything done in one session, which is nice. And I kind of work backwards as well. I start all the songs like completely electronic, and then start adding the real instruments, which is fun.
I was going to say, is that something that you've always done, or is that something that you've started to just do more recently? Because obviously, the earlier Strange Bones discography is very much more guitar, just based, whereas, you started implementing a lot more electronic features later on, but also live.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't start doing it like that. Like songs like SOA and God Save the Teen, just wrote all them on guitars and whatnot. But at the same time as like writing and doing them first singles, I was I was DJing like jungle at raves and shit as well. So I was always interested in these two types of music. But then I think I started getting a bit bored with just having guitars and drums and vocals. So I started trying to incorporate the electronic stuff, which I did play around with when I was in college, but it never really worked out because I think my production levels were just not up to scratch. But then as I just carried on doing it and doing drum and bass in the background as well, I was like, right, this needs to come together. But I think there's another reason why we've never released an album. Because I've always had this idea of a sound that I want in my head, and we've finally got it now. So it's album time.
Album time with Strange Bones. Yeah, and I've noticed on the track list that I saw there was obviously England Screams, the title track, but also Menace featuring Bobby Villain and Snake Pit. Is that the Snake Pit that's already out, or is there
Yeah. Just giving it a facelift. It's a completely different mix.
I imagine Strange Bones fans are going to be really happy to see that because that's always one that goes off live. But you tend to open sets with Snake Pit, don't you?
Yeah, we have done a lot in the past. It's a good opener.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like it just had to go on the album because it's probably one of my favourite songs we ever wrote. So I was just like, it's going on, no matter what.
And then also you brought forward Napalm Uber Alice from Blitz Part 2.
Yeah, that's another one. It has to go on.
Yeah.
Has to be on there. There's only three old tracks on there.
Yeah. Were there any others that you considered at least, or were they just ones that you were like, okay, cool, these three are absolutely going on?
Yeah, there was others, but then the album would just keep getting longer and longer. And there's already 13 tracks. It's quite a long album already, isn't it? I wanted to put Wolves on and a couple of others, but you can always do a deluxe or something like that. Get all the old ones on there.
It certainly makes it easier to print to vinyl if you've got less tracks. It's why music tended to be a bit shorter when we only had 7 inches.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Obviously, implementing the electronic sound and stuff, obviously you've had covers of Prodigy songs and stuff. Is that very much like a Prodigy influence then, the implementing the electronic and also like metal and punk and rock and stuff at the same time?
Yeah, kind of, in a way. I've always been a big fan of the Prodigy. I think you can definitely hear some Prodigy influence in songs, even Snake Pit, really, I think, and Underdogs. But yeah, I've always been a massive fan of electronic music, always. I've always been fascinated by the way you can manipulate sounds, like a lot differently. You can do that with rock music. But then I've also always had in the back of my head this idea of this cool as fuck sound. It took me ages to be able to do it properly and figure out what it was that I was trying to get at. But I feel like with this album, it's kind of that. It's got all these different influences kind of mashed into one, and the songs themselves are kind of, you could say they're like different styles, but they've all got this underlining kind of sonic characteristic within themselves, which ties them all together and makes them Strange Bones.
I get what you mean. Like just having the kind of like sonic continuity, like that goes across an album of just having, set tones and stuff, or even just a set patch of EQs or, even just how you make your synth sounds and stuff. But, I always find that a good record tends to come from having that sound competency. And that doesn't necessarily mean that like an album has to sound the same, but if an album feels the same, that tends to come across when
that's it because when you hear the album, you'll realize what I'm saying. They're all crazy different to each other, the songs, but I think it's more of a feeling, like you said, like the feeling that you get from listening to the songs, even though they're different styles. They all gel together. I think that a lot of that comes down to the production as well, having that consistency. But yeah, I'm so excited about this album though. It's crazy. I love it.
Yeah, as soon as it was announced, I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'm on board with this. I'm happy about this. And, just the fact that it's coming this year as well, it's going to be good crazy. For my Apple Music library, at least.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. So when you were writing these songs, did you have they're going to be done live in mind, or is that just an afterthought when it comes to your writing process?
Nah, I don't give that any thought whatsoever. I write it and then just figure that shit out later. We've got a lot of sample pads now, so we can split like synth sounds up into 16 pads, and we've got a few of them. So we can trigger loaded a little bits, and got some synths involved, and we've got a new drum setup. This is kind of hybrid, half electric, half acoustic. But yeah, that's kind of the fun of writing like that and figuring it out later. It's like, how the fuck are we going to do this?
Yeah.
It works out in the end.
It could also like obviously be a bit of a hampering, like thinking, oh, we've written a new song, but like, you know, we need to play it live. Let's record it so, you know, we can play it live. But then obviously you're going to miss so much of the song.
Yeah, that's so true. I think I've done that in the past, to be honest. Like when I first started Strange Bones, I had that mentality. But like you said, you're restricting yourself so much. Do you know what I mean? It's just, you don't want to be doing that, because you could turn down an amazing idea just because, oh, how am I going to do that live? Fuck it, figure it out.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter if no one ever hears this song live. Just, you know, let me at least make the song that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, no restrictions.
No restrictions. That's what you're going to get if you tend to work with Bobby Bentham. Because obviously you've produced for other bands as well, like Calva Louise. Do you tend to find that there are similar, you know, processes going into like recording with other bands, you know? Because obviously you can record for yourself and have, you know, as much freedom as you want. But when it comes to recording for other people, you know, obviously they've come to you because they want how you tend to do things. But also you're making someone else's product. Product's not the word I like using, but
yeah, well, it's different with Calva Louise, because like we live together and we're kind of just one big team. We do everything together. And when I'm mixing a Calva Louise song, I know that Jess is like a genius, and she's got like all these insane ideas, and it sounds so good. I can put my production kind of tint on it, and it just runs completely smoothly. I love working on the Calva Louise stuff. The songs are just all next level.
One thing I was going to mention is obviously Strange Bones has never been afraid to be outspoken on something, you know. I mean, even looking at songs like, you know, Big Sister and even the new song England Screams, you know, they're very, you know, talking about something that's going on. You know, how important is it for artists, and particularly in this scene as well, to, you know, not be afraid to speak up?
I don't think there should be any pressure on anyone to do anything. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
So even like talking about things that are going on in the world and your music it can be taken any which way. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think anyone should feel pressured to do anything. I don't know. I think it's important to think about the things that are going on around you, but at the end of the day, what's coming out of your music is a reflection of yourself, isn't it? And I feel like even with politics, you can find aspects of politics in songs, even when someone's singing about themselves, because it's a societal thing. It affects everything in one way or another, and that can spill out in any which way, if that makes sense.
It was certainly an angle that I hadn't quite considered when thinking about it, you know, going into this. But yeah, no one should feel pressured to like be political or anything along those lines.
These politics and these issues, like I said, they all spill out into society in so many different ways and affect people in so many different ways. Just go with it. Do what feels right.
So obviously, Strange Bones being from Blackpool, you know, how is the music scene up there? I don't usually, when people tend to think of music scenes, you know, they think Leeds, Manchester, even in some cases like, you know, Birmingham, etc. No one tends to think of Blackpool. You know, how do you end up, you know, being in a band that ends up touring coming from Blackpool?
Well, Blackpool's music scene is on the rise. It is, and I think a lot of that is down to Bootleg Social. They've done so much great things for the town in terms of music. The amount of shows they get on there, I think they've got like 90 shows booked up, and that venue, I think personally, is putting Blackpool back on the touring map, because promoters, I feel like before they were getting offers for Blackpool and they were like, nah, we're gonna skip that. But now, because of the reputation that Bootleg's been building, promoters are like, oh fuck yeah, all right, let's go Blackpool, let's go Bootleg Social. And yeah, it's a great place. Like before all this lockdown and everything happened, we used to do a night down at Bootleg Social, and it was just wild. It was just fucking crazy. But yeah, bands come out that we know from like around the UK, come to Blackpool, and just walking around like, what the fuck is this place? It's just like a crazy, decrepit Disneyland. It's just cool. It's fun.
Everyone obviously thinks of, Pleasure Beach and Big One and rock. Well, the different type of rock, but Blackpool having an emerging music scene. I've heard that grime is very big in Blackpool.
Yeah, it was the Blackpool grime media that went like famous on social media and everything, on YouTube.
Obviously, there's a bit of a family aspect to Strange Bones. Family-based bands tend to have quite, a very public idea. If you think of family bands, people tend to think of bands like, Oasis or something along those lines, and there's always some form of fallout going on there. How do you tend to keep things, fresh and going on, and in some cases even just, productive?
Well, me and my two brothers, we've been playing music together since we were like little kids, like 10 years old, probably younger. And no, we don't really fight anymore. Weirdly, we used to fight all the time. But I don't know, it's just we've been doing it together so long now. It's rare we ever fall out. But another good thing is, because we're brothers, if we do ever fall out, it can be resolved very quickly. There's no like grudges held or anything like that. But yeah, it's good. We're all close together as well, so it's easy to do things.
Do you find that and then brings like a higher level of trust? Like, that if you ask one of them to do something, that they're going to be able to do it, and if they can't, they will feel free to let you know.
Yeah, defo. Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of it's a weird relationship you have with your brothers, which yeah, it can be very honest, like you said. Yeah, definitely.
One of the things we've mentioned a couple of times, obviously Strange Bones, an amazing live band. One of the best memories I've got is Night People, Manchester, just handing out balaclavas and just my friend who was watching the stream of that gig at home just said it was just a sea of black. But like, how do you end up coming up with ideas like that?
I don't know, to be honest. I'm just always coming up with these mental ideas and writing down on my notes, and seeing them like a week later, like, what the fuck? Why did I write that? And then sometimes they come true, and we end up ordering like 1,000 balaclavas. Yeah, we did it on a few of the dates. That we did it in London as well. I think it was just them two. But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah,
it was wild, just looking out and seeing a whole crowd wearing balaclavas. Everyone knows now how fucking hot it gets in there when you're at a gig.
Yeah, I mean, that was in the middle of a heat wave already, in the summer in Britain of 2018, asking someone to wear a balaclava halfway through a gig.
I didn't need to ask. People were grabbing them off me.
I mean, there is that, obviously.
Get a free balaclava. Don't know myself.
I mean, you've been known to perform in a gas mask, and I imagine that's not, cold at all.
No, that gets seriously sweaty, and then the goggles steam up, and you can't see what the fuck you're doing, and you just have to rely on the people you're on top of not to drop you on your head. But that's where Aaron comes in, our stage guy. It saved my life so many times.
Just for the people listening, like, how important is having a good stage guy when you performing live like that?
Oh, I don't do gigs without it, because something always goes wrong in like every song. Like the mic cable will come out, someone will stand on the pedal board, like I'll get thrown back to the stage super quick, or even if people are crowd surfing, he's there and helping them, making sure they don't hurt themselves. But yeah, it can get, I say without him, that there could be a lot of injuries, bad things, and shit breaking, not being fixed quickly. So yeah, it's very important.
Yeah.
He's a good guy as well.
Yeah. And
Great guy.
obviously in a live setting as well, you've supported bands like, Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes, the Blinders. What kind of lessons do you tend to take home from, being on tour with bands like that?
Whilst we're out with Frank, I suppose the lessons we took back from it was because we had a crew at the time, but like their crew just made our crew look like so amateur. Do you know what I mean? Just the way how smoothly things were run and everything, how you just got to be like on the ball all the time. And yeah, we took that from that tour massively. So now we're just like clockwork. The whole team's just knows exactly what they're doing and is the best they can be. Yeah, that's definitely what we took from that. And Frank's just a madman as well. It was great. The whole stage setup and the way everything's done live is just so cool. I think we learned a lot from that tour.
The Leeds day on that tour was the first time I saw Frank, and at that point I hadn't heard all of the songs, just because I'd only just gotten into them. But that was an eye-opening experience for what music can be like live.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I was a massive fan of Frank's first band Gallows when I was growing up, and it was pretty wild to be going out touring with him.
Is there anyone like who is absolutely like on the top of your wish list to be touring with?
The Prodigy, definitely the Prodigy.
Going back to the album then, what was the kind of like core idea behind the album other than just we want this perfect Strange Bone sound? Like, is there anything that sort of links songs together lyrically wise or theming?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when I started writing the album, I had a lot of different ideas and things that I was going through in my own head that I wanted to write about, and it all kind of boiled down to the relationship between order and chaos. And I started realizing every good idea or every song was all coming out the back end of absolute chaos in my life, in my own head. And I was trying to understand that and how it kind of relates to every aspect of your life, which kind of started bringing the album songs together, which I'm happy about. I can always remember why I wrote each song, and yeah, it feels good.
I imagine several years on, you're going to look back on this album and think, yeah, still a banger.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's from the future, so hopefully it'll still be popping in the future.
I mean, I think that's all an artist can hope for, really, that, an album will still be popping in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I've always said to myself, this is why I was just so hyped to get an album done, because if I can leave one thing behind on this earth, I'd want it to be an album that I'm super proud of. And now I've got one, so let's do another.
Yeah. Obviously, as well, like with an album, you've got so much more like musical space to, just throw ideas at the wall. Because
Yeah,
obviously, when you're just making like a 3 or 4 track EP, obviously you've only got those 3 or 4 tracks to be like, okay, cool, this is us, and we're gonna sound like this. But across an
yeah,
album, you can have so much more variety, and like you can have the fast songs, you can have the slow songs, you can even have just a song that, you know, obviously no one ever really writes music to just sell music, but you can have the song that's kind of like there to be, here's my expression of myself. It might not do well, but I'm putting it out anyway.
yeah. No, yeah. There's definitely one of them songs on there. It's my favorite song I've ever made. But yeah, it's pretty batshit crazy. So it's probably going to be one of them. It's going to be one of them ones where it's like their least favorite or it's their favorite.
Are there any songs that you tend to find, not of Strange Bones, but like of other bands, where it's your favorite, but so many other people just don't get it?
I can't think off the top of my head, but I do know that that's definitely happened to me before. Yeah, whenever I get asked about songs or albums or bands, my brain just goes blank, and I can never think of anything. I think that's the good thing about music and art, though, isn't it? You
Yeah.
can relate to something very strongly, and then to someone else, like one of your friends, like it doesn't even touch them. I think that's one of the powerful things about music.
I at least appreciate that the music that I'm listening to is music that feels important to me.
Yeah,
But then at the same time, all of their music, for the same reason, has like that importance to them. You know,
yeah,
I never trust anyone that says they're not into music because, you know, even if they listen to just SoundCloud remixes or even something else, you know, they still listen to that and they choose to listen to that because that's what they enjoy listening to.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't think anyone could ever say they're not into music. That's like saying I'm not into breathing. You know what I mean?
Now that's a quote.
It is though. Like, come on. If said they're not into music, then they're not into films either. Because can you imagine watching a film with no soundtrack?
That would be weird. Have you ever watched any of those YouTube videos where like someone has removed like the score from a film or like either replace it with something completely different or like just there's nothing there?
I don't think I have.
It completely changes like the tone of a scene.
But I'll tell you what I did see a couple of days ago. Someone has flipping taken the first Harry Potter, replaced all the wands with guns. So they're just shooting each other. It's hilarious.
I
It's
mean,
definitely worth.
some of those later films did kind of become like the ones just act as guns anyway. But
I do
what?
like Harry Potter. I'm not afraid to say it either.
Yeah, I like Harry Potter. I just don't like the person behind it anymore.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it J.K. Rowling?
J.K. Rowling. She's
Yeah,
quite outspoken on some minorities, and I'm not
yeah,
here for it.
yeah. I know too. Right.
So one of the things I like to do at the minute is like round off with a bit of a quick fire round, just two options, two choices, and you just say the answer that comes to your head for the
Cool. Let's
quickest
do
bit.
it.
Let's do it. So intimate gigs or larger ones.
Intimate, larger.
Intimate larger.
Yeah, does that make sense?
That makes sense. I get what you mean. Obviously, this one's a bit of relevant with the electronic stuff, but MIDI or real instruments?
MIDI.
MIDI. Ooh, MIDI. That's the first time I've had MIDI as an answer.
MIDI is God.
Yeah.
Well, that's my go-to. You know what I mean? I do love real instruments as well, just to clarify. Okay.
Yeah. Pro Tools or Logic?
Logic, fuck Pro Tools.
Pro Tools is hard, man. Like,
Pro
none of
Tools is, yeah, it's just so bland.
it makes no
Everyone,
sense.
I don't like it. Logic's like a spaceship.
Bedroom or studio? Studio.
Studio.
Studio. Studio. Reading or Leeds?
Leeds.
Leeds. Absolutely. And song on repeat at the minute.
Paris, Texas, heavy metal.
Ooh. I'll have to listen to that. I've not heard it before.
Very good.
Sell it to me.
Oh, it's this rap duo, and they're just kind of a bit out there, and they're doing these beats with like electric guitars, and it's got a cool like old school punk vibe to it. It's
Yeah.
like rap, punk, metal, rock, craziness.
I'm
It's cool.
definitely listening to that like in 10 minutes.
Video is cool as well. Get it on YouTube.
Get it on YouTube. I will do for sure. So, are there still pre-orders available for the album?
No, it's all sold out.
Is the vinyl sold out?
Yeah, sold out 24 hours.
That's cool. That's something that you'll be able to say as well.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna get some more up soon though. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty wild. They were just going. I got a couple for myself. I got one for my dad as well. Because they're like the special edition kind of splatter ones.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll do any more of them in
No.
that same way. So I want to make sure I got one for my collection.
Well, people can at least pre-save it and pre-order it on iTunes or, pre-add it on Spotify or whichever way around it is. But,
Yeah.
that's definitely something that people should do because they're going to, based off this conversation alone, they're going to be blown away by this album. Tour tickets as well, if you want to see Strange Bones in St. Albans, Stoke, Preston or Leeds, if there's any left.
Oh yeah, there's tour tickets left.
Yeah.
I think some people are a bit on the fence about whether it's going to go ahead or not.
Yeah.
So
I'd rather buy it and it not happen than not buy it and it happen and miss out.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to happen.
And if people want to find you or Strange Bones online anywhere, where do they go?
Instagram, it's just Strange Bones, and that's the same on Twitter and Facebook.
Nice and
Yeah,
simple.
mainly Instagram now. I don't really like Twitter. It just feels like everyone's just kind of bickering with each other all the time, and it's
Yeah.
just some stupidity on there. Do you know what I mean?
Well, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you, Bobby.
Thank you so much. It's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
No worries.
You're listening to Fresh from the Scene with Ruby Price.
Thank you very much for listening. If you enjoyed that, please do give it a share on social media and be sure to follow Bobby, Strange Bones, and myself on social media. As I said, there's links in the description. It would be great if you can make it to a show, or at the very least pre-order and pre-save their first ever full-length record, England Screams. It sounds like music from the future, and certainly the future is in need of music. So what could possibly go wrong? Like I said, thank you, and goodbye.